bowl of kind of boiling water at the table, and you put some vegetables in there and get kind of like a stock going, and then you have like very thin slices of delicious. I don't know what the verb for it is, but kind of swish it around inside the water till it just barely cooks, and then eat. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Tomorrow noonish, we head over to the airport, and then my life can go back to normal at long last. All you can eat for 2,000 yen, that's good. Because I can eat a lot of meat, and meat can be expensive. That's the whole point of those places, though. If you get a 2,000 yen all you can eat, you have to eat more than 2,000 yen worth of food to win. It's all about winning. It's a game, and you have to beat the store. Like that, they bet that no one's gonna beat their amount of food, but you have to do this. Go back and turn on the little stove again. That's awesome, Northhawk. Well, yeah, no, Northhawk, you could kill a buffet. I don't doubt that by any small stretch of the imagination. That Japanese buffets were not designed for people like you, having met you. Even me, I'm a skinny guy, but I eat a lot, actually. Um, Actually, my favorite story, I've told this online before, so I apologize if you've heard me and I'm repeating myself, but there's a restaurant chain here in Tokyo called BLDY. No idea what that stands for. But it's like a little Denny's kind of restaurant chain. But they used to have this thing. Hey, geek. Look back. So they used to have this all-you-can-drink bar. And so the bar had like scotch, gin, vodka, like shochu, and beer and wine. And for like, it was really cheap. It was like 1,500 yen, like $15. It was like all you could drink. But of course, I mean, it was intended for like, families, and dad gets the all you can drink alcohol thing and goes and gets he maybe gets 2 beers, 3 beers, maybe he gets, a shot or something. I don't know. But I mean, they didn't expect it. But English teachers found out about this place and would go in large groups, like, 5 to 10 huge British dudes, buy a plate of French fries, and then just run them out of liquor. Like literally, like they'd have to replace the bottles in the hard liquor. And so there was the one in Takadanobaba, which is a popular student area, that closed like first. And then other BLDY still had it, so all the teachers used to drink at Takadanobaba were like, oh shit, they stopped doing it. So then they went on to another station, and they basically went like to every single restaurant in that chain, basically destroying their all-you-can-drink promotion. Because when they came up with the mathematics behind it, they were thinking about, like, a normal Japanese adult with a family, how much they drink, not like 10 rugby players who are just hoping to black out so they can forget about their lives for at least one blessed hour or two. But it was hilarious because they actually had to discontinue the service. That's I don't think it's a good thing. They kind of killed what was a perfectly good thing, but it's pretty awesome. I mean, that's pretty cool. Something very cool about that. Tricks Jason, no, no, never a wrong time. Did you email me recently, Tricks Jason? I think you did. Or maybe I'm just thinking of the conversation we had earlier today. today. Oh, whatever. I guess it was, we were just talking earlier today. But actually, yeah, I mean, I'm really gonna miss my parents. It was really fun having them here. But at the same time, I'm gonna sleep for like 3 days. My parents brought lots of awesome stuff, though. I think my favorite thing that my parents brought is this button. My mom found this button at a thrift shop she works at. This is the greatest button ever. The thing is, I don't know if I can actually wear this because you have to be like a really big dick to wear this button. But like, because this is what everybody is thinking. Like people who live here long term, like they think this constantly, and they kind of want to say it to people, but they don't. So this is just awesome. Uh, it would. You're right, Slickwilly. You're right. It would be better uh, if it were in Japanese. In fact, I'm thinking about getting a button made that says that in Japanese. I remember one time I was in this coffee shop place called Detour. I have like coffee and like sandwiches and stuff, and I ordered a hot dog, and it was a very simple order. And she reconfirmed it, and then she thought I wanted two, and I re-explained it. She's like, no, I just want the one. And it was just, I don't know what it was that was wrong with this person, but he was incapable of understanding the very simple Japanese I was using because I'm a foreigner apparently. And I was just really pissy about it. I went back to the table and I told my Japanese friend, like, my God, it's why do they assume that every white person can't speak Japanese? And I said, well, then maybe you should just get a shirt that says on it, I speak Japanese. I've lived here for 8 years, you know. And I know they meant that as a joke, but like I thought about it for a couple of seconds there. I was like, yeah, I could just get a shirt that says I've lived here for 8 years, you know. But it's like, but the tour, specifically that coffee shop, is like right next to a hotel, a hotel metropolitan in Ikebukuro Station, and it's like, yeah, 99% of the people who come through there are tourists, and don't speak Japanese. So it's funny. I was talking about this with my parents, and a lot of that kind of feeling is just bullshit. It's such bullshit that people get all uppity about. I live here. Don't treat me like a tourist. Like in New York City, you don't get that reaction because there's a lot of different people. But if you're living in Japan and that's a really big issue for you, then leave. Or you just suck it up. Suck it up, because the fact is, if you're white or black, visually, people will automatically assume that you're a tourist. And you know what? That's the deal. Sorry, them's the breaks. But it does bother me sometimes. But yeah, I talked with my mom and dad about it. Just kind of like one of the chit chat we were having. So yeah, it is kind of stupid that people get so defensive about it, especially like guys who've lived here 20 years. I mean, I understand it's irritating, but tough shit, you know? Tough shit. Then don't live in a country where you're racially less than 0.5% of the population, because that's the reaction you're going to get. That's just one of those things. I just think, But I do personally. I also get pissed off. Sometimes I get really irked when people talk to me like I just got off the yam wagon. Uh, yeah, I mean, exactly. In Jarno, you're right. There's a lot of trade-offs. There's a lot of trade-offs. If that's the worst thing I have to deal with, people not automatically assuming that I speak Japanese is the big sacrifice I make. And I think it's better to have that. Anyway, but it is. It's a very distinct factor about foreigners who live here long term. They all get so freaking arrogant and uppity and pissy if people don't address them as experts. You don't see them and automatically recognize. Because like my mom said it, and she's absolutely right. She's like, it pisses them off because it's like, don't group me in with those people. I've been here for 10 years. I earned this. You know? And it's totally what it is. It's totally like, don't group me in with all the other white people. I've earned it. I've earned my cred and my street cred. But the fact is, you will never, unless you start wearing a button, like I said, unless you start wearing this button, people are not going to recognize you, you know? Yeah, yeah, Hilsey, you're right. Yeah, I just plow forward with Japanese. Occasionally, I'd say something snotty, but I think the button would be perfect in Japanese. That would be the key. Johan, like this is another example. I was in Suidobashi, right near the Mita line. This little Japanese woman comes up, and taps me on the arm. I turn around. She's like, "Oh, foreigner," and she's like, "Oh, nothing, nothing," and turns and grabs some Japanese person and asks the person, "Do you know where the Mita line train station is?" And the other Japanese person's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not from here," and walks off. And I was like, "Bitch, I know where it is. Like, why the hell did you walk away? I could have answered your question, you know." But I was so pissed off about that. It's like she was gonna ask me where the train station was. I could have told her, but as soon as like I turned around, she was like, "Oh, oh, it's you. Oh, never mind." You know. But I was so indignant that like she didn't even try to ask me. She abandoned ship and went and asked somebody else. It was like, I know, I know. No, it's nobody I knew. It was just some random woman on the street. That's not racist. That's not racist. I don't think it is. I mean, racist is like if I went in for a job and she said, "I'm sorry, I don't hire honkies." That would be racist, but not asking me where the train station is, I don't think that qualifies as racist. Yeah, I know. She just assumed that I'm a tourist. That's not connected to racism. They're like, "Oh yeah, this guy doesn't know. He's white. Why the hell would he know where the station is?" You know. She stereotyped me, yeah. Which I mean, I guess sometimes stereotyping can feel a lot like racism, but I think that they're exactly the same thing. It's like Asians are good at math. Is that statement racist? Oh, I don't know. I don't think I would complain too much. Laws? Oh, yeah. I could be getting the in-laws off the phone. What would you do? It is for you, dude. Sorry. That is on fire. That's a good one. Spontaneously combusting. Believable. Oh, tricks. Chasing. The truth never works. Also, the house is pretty much done. It's good. Like got squared away, epically squared away, which is nice. I just need one more major purchase, which is a sofa. If I get a sofa, I'm good to go. But the sofa thing, like, it's gonna be hard because the space where the sofa would go is not particularly big. Something that kind of will go well in the house. Well, but I gotta get a sofa. And none of the furniture I have in the house right now was rescued from the roadside. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, no, I lied. There's one thing. On the second floor, there's a shelf I got from the street. Basically, everything else is new. I got a brand new refrigerator. It's freaking awesome. Hold on a second. I'm gonna switch to my laptop and go mobile, but I can't go upstairs because my parents are asleep. I can show you the. I'll be back in a second. See what happens. That would be awesome. So you can just go on blogTV 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There's the Kenji webcam. Wonder, wonder how that would do. That'd be pretty exciting if he died. The ad's getting bad. It sucks because when the site started, of course, like any of these sites, when the site started, there were no ads. You know, him float. Because I actually, to be honest, I think his dead body decomposing would probably attract more internet viewers than the actual live fish swimming around being happy. I'm not sure what that says about humanity, but probably from the moment he died, he would slowly gain in popularity. We come back and, you know, we want to watch that, check in, see how far it's gone. It's like the same reason people leave Halloween pumpkins around for months after Halloween. PETA will raid their room. Wow. Worst things could happen. Yeah, and this is all ignoring the fact that I don't think I want to live with a decomposing fish body in my kitchen. I don't think that would make dinner too appetizing. The zombie Kenji would be awesome. I can see him trying to, like, you know, just push his way up the stairs, like jumping his way up the stairs, crawling into my room, nibbling on my ear as I sleep, trying to get at my brain. That would be pretty awesome. A zombie goldfish. As in any zombie film I've seen so far, I've seen zombie dogs, obviously, but I've never seen zombie fish. Is anyone aware of a zombie film in which fish become zombified? Because fish are pretty much borderline zombie as it is. They just, like, if I took some footage of Kenji and I just narrated over it, brain, brain, you know, that would be a zombie fish. In fact, I think I might do that now. I like that idea. I gotta write that down. Oh, this is also exciting. Because my parents are here. We went to all these horrible tourist trap areas that I wouldn't really normally go to. And I got this in Asakusa. It's my little samurai sword pen. How awesome is that? 500 yen spent well. Anyway, so zombie Kenji. Quote, brain. That's a very stupid idea, but I like it. Oh, the fucking pen broke. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, that is bullshit. Oh, that is such bullshit. Oh my god, I'm miffed. I get like one word into it and it dies. Didn't even make it to the letter N. But apparently the pen is not as mighty as the sword. You're right, evil beast. Oh, evil beast. That blows. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, I can't say that I'm surprised that my little samurai sword pen is a piece of shit. How could it not be a piece of shit? But seriously, I got 2.5 words out. Alright, let's bad boy away. But actually, I'm kind of bummed. I mean, I had a good time with my parents, but we didn't go anywhere truly awesome on this trip. Like, mostly because I was working the whole time. Like, the last time they came, it was about 5 years ago. I took off 2 weeks of vacation to be with them every day, but this time I was like, nah, sorry, I gotta work. And so I was like working part of the day, then I'd hang out with them. So we didn't do that much. We did go to Akita. I took the Shinkansen to Akita, which is in northern Tohoku region, northern part of the island of Honshu, and that was pretty cool. That was a lot of fun. While I was at work, basically I would bring them to various interesting stations, drop them off, and be like point them in the direction of a museum, and then drop off. And then I got them actually to work with me on 2 things. I filmed a TV show here called Tokyo Eye. Some of you maybe heard me babble about it at some point or another. But I convinced the producers to do an episode about their visit. So they worked 2 days with me on that, which was awesome. So I got to work and get paid and show my parents around. That was awesome planning. And then a couple other shows. I'm working on another show in like a big like TV studio place, and like they just came to the studio and hung out and watched like the show being made, and then like showed them around the building and took them to lunch in the cafeteria. So it was kind of like things like that. Like it was cool for them because I mean they get to see like my life, you know, what I do here and meet my friends and coworkers. But yeah, with the parts like, you know, the just boring meetings and stuff, I just dropped them off at like Shibuya Station and said, that's shopping in that direction. Go! And then went off and did some work. But fortunately, I was able to cut down my work a little bit while they were here. But no, we didn't do anything super cool. There was no festivals. There was no... I have a YouTube video basically ready to go from their trip. I just have to record some like explanation pieces, put that in, and then that'll be up this weekend, I think. Then I'm back to making normal videos. I got so many fucking videos I want to make. I just got this endlessly long list of stuff I want to do. Occurred to me during the time they were here. So I'm kind of stoked. And actually my schedule's not so tough in the coming month or two. So I should be able to do a lot. I mean, I say this now, but who knows. I didn't do season 2 of I Survived a Japanese Game Show. They were filming, actually I think they're done filming now, but they were filming over the last 3-4 weeks, exactly the same time my parents were here. And they emailed me back in, I don't know, autumn, and they're like, hey, we're doing season 2. Do you want to be a part of it? I emailed back. I was like, look, I've already got a bunch of other jobs that I do far more. Like, the normal jobs I do in Japan are like, I'm like writing a TV show or like starring in a show. And the stuff they had me doing for that show is like things I did in college. Like um, I did some camera work, which was cool, but I was basically babysitting, like the actors while they were sleeping. Like I did a little bit of camera work. Maybe totally about a minute worth of stuff I shot got into the show, like overall, you know. So it wasn't incredibly fulfilling for me. So I said like, unless you're gonna give me a real job, like I'm not gonna stop doing my other jobs to do your show. And I was hoping that they would offer me a better job, but they just said, nope. Okay, thanks anyway. Bye. So I tried to bluff them into getting me like a better job, and they called the bluff. Yeah, exactly, Jason. They're like, okay, but it was ridiculous because like they were paying me, I don't know, like $120 a day, maybe, maybe $120 a day, which is not enough. And it was like a good 10-hour time commitment. I mean, no offense, but like in California, we would call those Mexican wages. Um, and it's nothing. Yeah, exactly. It was practically pro bono work I was doing, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, I got to meet some nice people, and it was cool. But they just didn't have the money for like a real job. Everything had already been given out, and so this time, I said, "Hey, give me a real job." But so I tried to bluff them, and it failed. Uber fail. But to be honest, like I don't want to work in reality TV. I worked on the one episode, on the one season. Like that's really, I'm done now with reality TV. When I was in college, I worked in live sports for a couple jobs. I don't really want to work in live sports again. I've worked on news a couple times. I don't want to work on news. Like there's a lot of specific parts of TV. Like it's cool to have had the experience and worked on a show like that. That's cool to have like, you know, gotten to understand that part of the business. But like getting more experience on a reality TV set is only useful if I want to work in reality TV, which I don't. I'm a writer. There's really no point in me being involved in reality TV. Although they do have writers on those shows, but that's not the type of writing I want to do. You know. Yeah, it was good on the resume, but the thing is, being on season 2 also doesn't really change the resume. Like I was on, it's a line on the resume. Adding end season 2 to the resume doesn't really change much. So I was thinking, like trying to balance like what benefit am I gonna get if they give me another like crappy job? Then what am I really getting in return for, you know, a lot of time being underpaid what I normally get? And that's the thing. I'd have to not do my other jobs for Japanese companies here, which will lead to more work in Japan. That job will not lead to other work because they all go back to LA and it's done. And I would earn less money for that period of time than I normally make. You know, so it's like, so it was an easy decision for my part. But the only thing that sucked is there were some cool people. There was a couple producers and directors and camera people on that show who were just really cool. And it kind of reminds me that working in LA, working in TV is in some ways more exciting than working for a Japanese public broadcaster. And that's it's a very different world. It's kind of sad. It is a little bit like, in all honesty, like playing in Japanese baseball versus Major League Baseball. You know, it's fun to play in Japanese baseball, I'm sure, but all those guys have as a dream, like, want to be Major League Baseball player. That's the whole point. It's kind of like that. We're like a AAA team in Japanese media. Go Simon. Love you, dude. Why am I not downloading porn right now instead of doing this? That's a good question. Yeah, it's where the money's at as well. MLB is where the money's at. But interestingly, like the money, I was shocked at their budgets. What the people were getting paid for that show. Almost everybody on that show was freelance, and they make shit. Like, I was amazed that people would do a job like that for the amount of money they were being paid. Like, I couldn't live in Tokyo on the money they get. So that was kind of a surprise. But it was fun. It was fun. Like, that was the main reason I did it. And actually, the way I got the job, I heard that they were hiring for Tony Sano's job, that the Pie Kid, and the host of the show. A bunch of my friends went in for auditions for that, and actually Ron Kanda I knew before the show from the comedy world. He does stand-up comedy, and he's performed at the Tokyo Comedy Store, which is my comedy group. So I knew him already. So like a bunch of people were going in for that, and I found out about like that. And so basically I printed out a bunch of shit, like, portfolios, photos, and stuff like that. And I just went to the office where they had the auditions and to try and find people attached to the show. And they had finished all the audition stuff and were gone. So I left behind a big portfolio of stuff. And then I followed up later with some emails and phone calls. And basically like, all right, well, if you want to work on the show, basically we could still use somebody to do the night stuff. Since I had language abilities, they didn't have anybody on the night crew who spoke Japanese. Actually, they didn't have anybody on the crew, period, who spoke Japanese. But so that was so I just jumped on board at the last minute for that. But it's funny, a lot of people ask me, like, yeah, how did you get a job in TV or stuff like that? And it often comes down to being borderline stalkerish of people, like borderline harassment. Yeah. At least for that job it was anyway. Persistence, yeah, that's absolutely true. Persistence. I mean, I've been trying. I mean, I went in university. I studied TV, radio, and film, but like I've been after college. It's been like a decade that I've been working towards a career in TV, and now finally, I'm completely working in TV. But a fucking decade of my life was spent to get to the place I'm at now. Persistence is definitely part of it. This acting is awesome. And actually, Hiko Simon also just got this acting. Did he leave? Let me check. The great one. My dad actually just got one. Hold on. He's been using the waterproof Zacti. I have an older high definition model, but the only thing that sucks about the waterproof one, it's like the old HD one. I just got this little slot thingy I can put on my desk, and when I want to recharge the camera, I just slot the camera into it and it recharges it. But because it's waterproof, the battery is like hermetically sealed inside this little thing, so you have to like open it up and take out the battery and actually put it inside this little charger. It's a small thing, but it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. And like connecting it, there's also the connections for the interface is here. Whereas mine, like I can get home from filming, just slot it into the slot, so it starts charging again and immediately opens up on my computer as a little, you know, folder on my computer, and I can just copy this stuff out. So I can imagine there might be some use to waterproof cameras, like filming yourself in the shower. But I would go with the regular model, personally. My dad also had this Pentax camera he was carrying around, taking photos of stuff. I've decided that I want to get like a nice still camera. I have this Pentax thing. This used to be my dad's years ago. This epically old film camera. It's awesome, but developing film now is so fucking expensive. Jesus God in heaven. But it's very fun, and I look like I don't know, a tool when I go around with my little, winding my little things. I'm gonna take a photo. I'm a photo taker. You know. But I want to get like a good digital camera. I was at an event Danny Chu had a couple weeks ago, and everyone had these like awesome new digital cameras, and they uploaded all their photos later on from the event. Their photos are fucking beautiful, gorgeous photos, compared to like what my shitty Zacti still photos look like. They're amazing photos. Yeah, Arty Farty Film Buff. I think that's what I was going for, Hewlett Packard. But yeah, I really totally would like to get one of those new, nice cameras. But money. That's the other thing. Like, and my TV is kind of old and shitty. I want to get a flat screen like all the other kids. There's so much shit I want to buy. The other thing is I've also been thinking about trying to buy a better quality video camera, because like the one I have now on the YouTube videos, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but I think I could get the quality better. And the other problem is this Zacti one I have now, it's pretty good video quality, but there's no place to plug in a microphone on the camera, so I can only use the built-in mic. And so I've been having a lot of audio problems in videos. And so if I'm going to step it up to like a better level of filming, I got to get something with an audio jack, because the audio is really killing my stuff sometimes. I mean, sometimes the audio is just horrific. You know, that's one of the major complaints I get from people on my videos is audio, and that and being a douchebag. The douchebag thing I can't fix by buying a camera. That's unfortunately. Okay, the Lumix DMC TZ5. Too expensive. I'll keep that. Hack an audio jack into the camera? Really? That's pretty Ayashi. Oh man, I love Nishibe Trader's 80s video cam. That's awesome. The first camera I ever got, and I have on a DVD I swiped from my parents' place, the Christmas morning footage when I got this camera. I don't know if anybody else ever had it. Maybe it was Panasonic, but it was a camera. It's big, about this big, and it used audio cassettes as the medium, recorded in black and white, and just had like an on and off button on the handle, and like a little like thing for outdoor lighting, indoor lighting to slide back and forth. But it was like for kids basically, to learn how to use video. But it recorded on audio tapes. But I had that. That was the first video camera I ever had. It was like my first Sony video camera. But it was awesome. It was like big rubber eyepiece, You put it in there and hold it. Oh, it was awesome. So I remember as a kid, I used to like film like little sketches and stuff with my friends, and but you'd have to like edit in the camera. Um, oh yeah, you're absolutely right, Hilsey. You're absolutely right. But like you had to edit in the camera, so you'd have to shoot a shot, stop it, and then go to the next shot chronologically in order. Because there was no way to edit any of the footage, obviously. But I totally fell in love with video cameras when I got that thing. I wish I could find one of those. I'm happy to hear it, Geek. Someone mentioned for fucking with it in GarageBand, which is possible. Yeah, but I don't. But that doesn't really fix it. I mean, doing stuff in post, it doesn't really fix it. I mean, recording good audio to begin with is really what I got to do. Ah, that I could do that too. You're right, Geek. But that sounds like a pain in the ass. Thinking audio tracks like that would be easy. Yeah, would it be? Yeah, I could give that a try. Actually, it's not a bad idea. You know, if the audio actually synced, the audio synced, no problem. It matched up completely. Didn't like, because I'm always afraid that like the audio will somehow record or play back at some slightly slower pace, and we'll get out of. Yeah. If I buy a nice digital one, I'm sure it'd be okay though. It'd be the same. Actually, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. That's what we do with a professional crew. Like the audio is completely separate from the video sometimes. Separate mic pick up more once noise. I don't know, but I'm thinking about like a pin mic or something like that. So I'm getting it more focused on what I'm saying and not just the random sound of cicadas in the background or shit like that. But anyway, yeah, there's tons of shit I could spend money on. There is no shortage of things that I could piss away money on. Yeah, it's stereo, but it's like shitty audio stereo, not like good audio stereo. So the other thing, Kenji needs a new tank. Maybe he's getting too big for his little tank, but I don't think I'm gonna get him in. If I get a new tank, he'll just get bigger. I don't want him to think he's allowed to get as big as he wants. I have to make it very clear to him that he has reached his limit and that we will not accept any larger than he is now. I've explained it to him many times, but he doesn't seem to understand this concept. That the bigger he gets, the more disgusting he looks, and the more creepy he becomes. When he was small, he was really cute, but he's slowly becoming like a fish. You know, instead of like a little cute goldfish, he's now like the kind of thing you'd see on a pile of ice at the supermarket. I can't. You're right. I can't believe he's still alive either. How in the name of God is this fish not dead? Seriously. My parents too. My brother has this English Mastiff. It's been in a couple of my videos when I went home. And the dog is like 13 now, 13 years old, which for like a Mastiff is insanely old. And it just won't die. And so like my parents have to go back tomorrow, but we're actually saying like, they could stay for another month if they wanted to, but they can't because they have somebody watching the dog. So, it's like this dog just will not die. It's amazing. It's a great dog, but seriously, everything has its time. There's a season for everything. Kenji is now. I guess he'll be 3 in July or August. In August, he'll be 3. Yeah. Well, the problem is everybody in the family loves the dog very much, so we can't put down a healthy dog. He's pretty healthy. That's the thing. Oh, that's funny, Salyabin. That's funny. I enjoyed that. Oh, Superman. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't know. Sperman is a particularly famous old person, but also my parents give him a donut every morning after his morning poop, and a bowl of ice cream after dinner. And I think it's just because he knows if he can stay alive one more day, he can get a donut in the morning and a bowl of ice cream at night. Yeah, no, they do. They give him a donut every morning and a bowl of ice cream after his dinner at night. And so he stays alive just to get that one more bowl of ice cream. Just one more. Just one more. I think that's why it's his love of food that's keeping him alive. But the thing is, like, he can't get the ice cream because he stopped eating his food. Basically, he doesn't want to eat food, uh, and so we only give him the ice cream after he eats his food. And so he knows that unless he eats his food, he can't get the ice cream. And the donut, unless he poos, he can't get the donut. So we take him out to Poopy Land, which is a small area near the house in the woods. Uh, and what he'll do is, especially in the cold winter days, he'll go out there and he'll squat down and pretend to go to the bathroom and then come back up and go. So you actually have to go and check and watch him because he'll fake it. He'll fake go into the bathroom because he's just thinking about the donut and he wants to get this over with as soon as possible so he can get inside and get the donut. So you have to actually you go outside and watch him. You know. Oh no, no, it's that would be a great world if every time I had a good poo, like someone would give me a chocolatey snack. That would be great. Good job, good job. He's an awesome dog, but he's old. He's much older than we expected him to be. But for my parents, it sucks because they wanted to come for even longer. But having they were here for 3 weeks, having somebody watch that dog for 3 weeks, it's quite a pain in the ass. You know. It's expensive. They had to pay somebody to watch the dog. In dog years, the dog is older than me. That's true. 13 now. Oh, but we can't. Like, I mean, he's so old. Basically, we just leave him in the house, and we had someone watch the house. Someone like was living in the house while we were gone. Be honest, you get sick of your parents on visits. There was like one or two moments when I would say yes within that 3 week period. There was a couple moments where I was like, oh God, I don't need. No, on the whole, it was really nice having them here. It was weird. It was totally different. It was totally different than like going home and visiting my parents because it's in their house. They can irritate me to the point of exhaustion, and I can't escape. But here, it's my house and it's my country, so I can pretty much just walk out the door, you know, anytime I want to. So it's a little bit different having them here, and also like it's weird because they're guests here. I don't know. It changes the feeling in some way. You know, there's something different about it. But they were good. They were good house guests too. It's a weird thing, you know. It's a very weird thing, like having your own parents as guests in your house. But it's even weirder when you add the fact that we're in Japan. You know, I haven't totally mentally, debriefed everything from the trip yet in my mind, but um, I'm sure every parent is like this. But specifically, my mom and dad are very inquisitive, and I like the fact that they're like, while they're here, they're always asking us like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? You know, it's very interesting. It's fun for me to explain it to them. I'm glad they're interested in everything, but like, often I will be trying to like explain directions to a taxi driver, and like my mom and dad will be like parroting these little questions that are completely unnecessary, or like don't forget your hat. Oh, you know, like all these little things that I know they're meaning to be helpful, but like when I'm in the middle of trying to do something, you know, it can be really irritating. You know, almost like, you know, when my dad was driving us around the country on vacations in summer, you know, me and my brother, like, making noise in the back of the car must have driven him to insanity. It's kind of similar to that, you know, but the opposite direction. You know, now it's me showing them around, taking care of them, and they're filled with all these inane questions, you know, like things they really don't need to know. But just basically that was about the only thing. Yeah, the "Are we there yet?" It's "Are we there yet?" type stuff. You know, oh, they did not bring me mallow fluff and sun chips. Sadly, they brought me almost nothing, to be honest. But they actually they've been really good. I haven't paid for food in three weeks, and we've been eating out at nice restaurants like pretty much every night. So that was awesome. You know, it was also kind of nice in that, you know, we went out to nice restaurants, did stuff. We went to Ice Cream City 5 years ago, and despite the fact that I literally live next door to Sunshine City, we did not go to Namche Town this time. Kind of a kind of a shame. That's the thing. I was hoping that I could have made a compilation of all the things we did in this as a kind of recommendation list of places to go, but we didn't really do a lot of the stuff. The first time they visited, they came for like 2 weeks, and I had them on this like Bataan death march of tourist attractions. Like every day, we went to like two or three things, uh, and they were just like, they were exhausted by the end of it. Like I just had it packed, like festivals and, you know, pottery making and all sorts of shit. But this time it was just kind of like we'd get up, you know, have some breakfast, I'd go off, do some work, or we'd go to some neighborhood and hang out, do some shopping. It was like very laid back. We did very little traveling, actually. But it kind of sucks in terms of like good neta for a good, sorry, good material for like YouTube blogs and stuff. But for them it was good because, like, you know, they're also getting older. My parents are now like 65, and like running around, standing and walking and doing all that stuff is not as easy for them as it used to be. Find any funny tees for your dad to wear? He bought a Yomiuri Giants baseball cap today at Tokyo Dome, so he's been walking around wearing that. And he asked me if he looks stupid wearing a Yomiuri Giants baseball hat, and, and I said he looked really cool, really cool, and all the Japanese people would be very impressed by his hat. It's funny though, but it's actually it was fun hanging out with them because there's a lot of stuff they were noticing that was kind of cool. Like things that it's so there's so many things like that's why there's so many YouTube videos kept springing up into mind while I was with them. There's so many things that they noticed that I just totally don't notice anymore. Like on rainy days, there's this like uh, little box in front of the shop where you put your umbrella into it, and it puts like this plastic condom type thing on your umbrella so you don't drip water into the shop. And they're like, that's so cool. And it's like, yeah, that is cool. You know, I've never seen that anywhere else in the world, but I take it for granted. And like my dad was taking like photos of some woman riding a bicycle with like 6-inch pin heel shoes. And yeah, that's crazy. Why do people wear these shoes, much less bicycle in them? You know, there's a lot of little things they noticed. like that I kind of take for granted. Like we went to a cafe that has these like chocolate croissants for like lunch, and my mom gets a chocolate croissant, puts it on the tray, and the staff guy takes the tray, and he's like, "Oh, no, 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 no," and he takes the chocolate croissant that she picked from like outside off and throws it away, and gets a new one from the oven and gives it to her, like a freshly baked one, you know. And like which that would never happen at like a Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. Like if you pick like one of the donuts that's out, they say, "Oh, no, 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 don't eat the old nasty ones. Let me get you a fresh new one, because we're gonna throw those away," you know. But if that happened to me, it wouldn't even register in my mind now at this point as being odd, you know. But it was just being with them. They freaked out about that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That is really awesome," you know. There's a lot of stuff like that they noticed. My mom was making a whole list of stuff. She said that was like interesting things. No, well, and this is the other thing. The woman that my dad was taking photos of, she was like in her 40s or 50s. It was like this, sort of like a 50-year-old woman in like these pinheel shoes on a bicycle. You know, that even that detail of it's crazy too. Like, you know, so many women, older women here, like wear ridiculous shoes. Like in the States, like most Western women just like, ah, screw this. I'm not going to be wearing these shoes anymore. I'm 50. Screw it. No more heels. But a lot of women in Tokyo don't. Yeah, well, they went to Harajuku. I kind of dropped them off because actually my TV company is basically there. So I dropped them off in Shibuya and Harajuku, and they explored that stuff pretty much by themselves. Um, Dom, long to see. I am incredibly pissed off at you and Kaina, by the way. How neither of you got in touch with me while you were here. You couldn't. Hmm. No internet. Yeah, there's no internet in Tokyo. Yeah. Yeah. Totally understand. Yeah, that would be impossible to find internet in Tokyo. But yeah, no, it was a cool trip with parents. Did you have a good trip, Tom? Oh wait, I don't care. You're dead to me now. Yeah. What time is it there in the States now? 2 a.m. here. Jesus. 44 a.m. No, it's not. My handy computer tells me it's 12:45 in New York. Oh, no, I was opening another program. Sorry, my computer had to think for a little bit, so it confuses the audio video stream. I never lived in New York City. I was a Long Island boy. I lived in I grew up in Long Island. I went to university in Syracuse, which is central New York. And my parents live in the Adirondacks, which is far northern New York. But after university, part of university, I lived in London. And then after that, I moved to Los Angeles and there for a year. And then moved to Tokyo. Hello, Kurosaki. No, I was a suburban kid. I have no New York City street cred. I remember this girl I dated in when was that? High school. Would she lived in Queens and I lived in Nassau County, and so pissed off if I would refer to myself as a New Yorker. I'd say at first, yeah, I'm a New Yorker, and she felt that it's a lie for Long Islanders to refer to themselves as New Yorkers. That we must refer to ourselves as Long Islanders, because saying we're New Yorkers confuses people into thinking that we're from a cool place, which we're not. But like, she was from Queens and where I lived in Nassau County was basically the same. Like, it was exactly the same, but she felt that political distinction between Queens and Nassau County was enough. Similarly, I dated a girl from New England, and I used to argue that New York, in places, is part of New England. I say from the Hudson River east, uh, in northern New York, that's New England. That's part of New England. But she says New York is not part of New England. Any part of New York is not part of New England. I used to really piss her off. Like when I say I was a fellow New Englander. Yeah, Bourdain's from Jersey. He's another bridge and tunnel guy across the river. Well, the thing is, I would say that I would argue that New York could be considered part of New England, but New Englanders do not feel that way. They strongly feel that New York is not a part of New England. Hello, Mr. Arrogant. Yeah, but when people from Massachusetts and Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine consider themselves very separate from New York. My favorite is there's all these little shitty towns in central New York named after world capitals. There's a Rome, New York. There's a Paris, New York. There's a bunch of them, and they're like these shitty little towns, like so awful, such horrible little places. But they've got the name. Where are you from? I'm from Rome. Really? Like that takes a lot of balls to call your town, your shitty little town, Rome. Yeah, there's a Rome, New York. Strangely, a lot of Greeks live there. I have no idea how that happened. Kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of the most common questions, and one of the things I think about the most. And my parents, we talked about this a lot during the trip. It was nice actually because a lot of the trip was just me hanging out with my parents talking about stuff as adults, but we're talking about which city is better, New York or Tokyo. Now, my parents, both my mom and dad grew up in Queens. My mom's from South Ozone Park, and my dad moved a lot. I'm not sure which part he was from, but they're both from Queens, so they're bona fide New Yorkers. But yeah, they feel that Tokyo is a better city to live in. I kind of agree. I agree. Like the three of us basically all came to the conclusion that Tokyo is a more pleasant place to live. But there's certain aspects of New York that give it its reputation and make it awesome in its own way. But in terms of an actual place to live, day to day, Tokyo is better. And this is again accepting all the other issues of language, race, career, all that stuff aside, just taking the city by its merits. Tokyo is a better city. And by that I mean like cleaner, politer staff. Even though, and it's people always say, "Oh yeah, but they hate you on the inside" or some shit like that. Like, who cares? I don't give a shit what they're thinking on the inside. It's nice having polite people in restaurants and cafes everywhere you go. Transit system is awesome. The safety, like safety is almost a non-issue here. It's not the most expensive capital anymore. I mean, New York, the prices for most things, accommodation in New York is more expensive. Apartments in some parts of New York are far more expensive than Tokyo. Yeah, Tokyo has an amazing subway system. It's fantastic. It's clean, beautiful. Like we were riding one train the other day, and it's like plush seats, like actually cushioned plush seats. I just talked to my parents. I was like, how long would plush cushioned seats last in New York? We have like these hard vinyl, like prison seats, and like every square inch of glass or metal, people have carved their names into. What motivates someone to like carve their initials onto the window of a subway car? you know? But nobody does shit like that here. Nobody's just like, oh, I'm riding on the train. What am I going to do with this 10 minutes I have to kill? I know. I'll take out my pocket knife and carve my fucking name into the window. That'll be fun. And so, like, all the subways, like, the older subways, are just covered in fucking graffiti. It's ridiculous, you know? So it's just little things like that where you're just like, what, what fucking barbarians that they're carving. People are carving their names everywhere on public property, and so when you're in a city that just doesn't have it, there's just none of that. You kind of think, wow, it's nice. It's nice that people don't ruin shit that's in the public space, you know? But NyQuil, the one thing I would say, it's disappointing for many people in the lack of like flying cars and stuff like that. I mean, doors tend to open by themselves, and there's a lot of moving sidewalks and here and there, but like, it's not like the Jetsons, so don't expect too much, you know. It's not the Jetsons over here. There's like a lot of areas of the city are quite depressed and old-fashioned, and there's lots of shitty old buildings. It's definitely not, you know, it's not. I mean, a lot of parts of Manhattan are just as nice and modern as Tokyo. Tokyo's nice sections, I mean. Yeah, and exactly. New York City subways are not on a schedule in any way, shape, or form. Like, I mean, just I don't even want to talk about it. It's so ridiculous. Like bilingual announcements that are clear and can be heard throughout the train. Schedules posted everywhere. It's like every train platform, they actually have a map of every train on the line, and which car you get on is which is closest to which exit, or which train you want to transfer to, in Japanese and in English sometimes. It's just amazing. Like I've never seen, like, in most stations in New York City subway, a map or a train schedule. Like, I've never seen that shit. You know, like in the Tokyo subway, it's like, next train will come at 12:03, and they show the location of the train currently, where it is, and like 12:03 on the dot, the train arrives. It's things like that that are just like, nice. That's nice. But again, I'm just comparing the merits of the city itself. I'm not comparing, um, you know, jobs you can get, or people. People, that's a big difference. I mean, people in New York are far more interesting than here. I mean, you get on a train. My mom made this comment the other day. It's like you get on a train platform in New York and you shout out a language, like any language, somebody on that platform can speak it. you know, it's like, because somebody is from that place. Somebody knows. Because it's just so full of random people. But Tokyo, you get on the platform, and it's a whole lot of Manila. It's just one big platform full of Manila. That's a huge difference. You know, but if we're just talking about things like the the, the infrastructure of the city itself, you know, no, I haven't, Hewlett Packard. This is the most embarrassing thing about me. A lot of people could complain about how I live my life, and that's fine. But the only thing I think that would be justified in their complaint about me is I've not been anywhere in Asia except Japan. That's, to me, it's shockingly depressing. I can't believe it. Sometimes I get off myself, but I get wrapped up with work and my life here, And I've traveled all over the country, you know. I've traveled everywhere in Japan, but I've not gone to other parts of Asia. I think this summer would be a good time to go before the swine flu thing starts up again in autumn. 8 months backpacking through Asia sounds like a really good idea. Fortunately, I kind of feel like at this point in my life, getting that amount of time off, mm, that's impossible. Like, I can't even imagine how I could work that. I think if you mean you are so lucky, I hope you mean the person who went 8 months backpacking through Asia, not me, because I am incredibly jealous of that experience. Manila, but it's Slikwilea is also a reference to uh, folders, Manila folders that are all the same. So I use Manila sometimes as a word for boring in Asian. It's just like endless Manila envelopes that all look the same. Again, that's possibly rude and offensive, but tough shit. That's definitely the impression you get standing on the Tokyo train platform. Yeah, chewing cable cat. Long time no see. Sorry, I've not been around other places in addition to here. But yeah, no, I mean Tokyo is awesome. I'm not complaining about Tokyo. I'm just saying if you're gonna compare New York and Tokyo, mm, there are some better things. No, Manila in the Philippines is definitely not boring. That is not a boring place. I just think Manila, for me, the word Manila, not related to the Philippines, has a very boring feeling. Folders, the color itself. It's not white, like because white can be exciting. White can be a great, like strong background, but Manila, it's such a pussy. Like it won't even decide what color it is. Like khaki. Khaki is another one of those things, but khaki works for pants. That's about it. Manila's the color of blah. Like you'd never have a sports team that would choose Manila as one of their colors. I hope. Yeah, my parents had the noise canceling headphones on the flight over, and they were saying that it was like the greatest thing ever. I don't understand it. I don't notice this noise that people talk about. People are like, "Oh, the airplane's so noisy. The sound of the airplane." Is it? I don't notice this. I it's not something that affects me. But apparently there are these people that are like freaked out by the sound of the engines. I'm kind of glad I can hear the engines. That's reassuring to me. I would be much more freaked out if I couldn't hear them. But but apparently that's one of the things that people get bothered about on airplane flights. Yeah, exactly, Dom. Exactly. But Ozzy Long, your coworker's an idiot. Like I don't understand how that noise can be so troubling to people. Yeah, I think those days are over now, except in Asian airlines. Japan Airlines has the still goes the traditional way with the hot stewardesses, but every American airline I've flown on, they look like prison guards. As one of my friends, Spring, says, would you, if shit goes down on an airplane, would you rather your stewardess be like Keiko, this little cutesy bimbo, or, you know, someone who seems like she's seen some shit in her life? You know? Ah, you missed it, Kurosaki. I just did a little bit of a house tour. Well, my parents are sleeping upstairs, so I can't. But actually, maybe next time I do a live thing here, I'll do a house tour. I'll probably end up doing a couple of house tours because if I'm blogging from here, people will ask me to. Tokyo is awesome. Yeah, Singapore Airlines. There's a couple airlines specifically that are known for their babes. And no, I'm definitely making a video of the house tour, Dallin. Don't worry. I mean, you could have seen it had you contacted me, but you didn't. So, job on that. A video camera. You also missed that conversation. I'm using a Zacti HD camera. 2 years old now, I think. A year old? Yeah, I've had it for a while. So it's not the newest Zacti model. I don't think they sell the version I have anymore. You could get it used somewhere, but Zacti is the maker. Similar. This is my dad's camera, but it's similar to this. Waterproof. I just find it funny that my dad got the waterproof one. I don't think my dad's going to be jet skiing and filming at the same time. But that's one of the most awesome things about old people. How they buy stuff that like they're never actually going to really use. But they have the money to buy it now because they're older. And they've like, you know, worked their whole life. So they can buy all the stuff that they always wanted when they were younger. But like they can't use it. I had this... I had a friend when I was growing up, my best friend growing up, this guy John Kavner, awesome dude, and he had this uncle Herb, and I remember him telling me when I was in like junior high school his brilliant plan, which was every young person at the age of like 20 or whatever should be given $1 million so they can use that money, because like when you're 20, you could use $1 million really well, by which I mean like going nuts and enjoying yourself. But then you have to pay the money back when you're an old person. Like, because when you're old, life pretty much sucks, so you might as well work, was his theory. But he said, like, if he had got all the money, because now he's old, he has all this money, but he can't use it, really. But he's saying, like, if he could have had the money he has now when he was a kid, and then worked when he was older, that would have been a better way to organize society. The problem is, though, I think you'd have a lot of suicides around the age of 60, you know. Or, yeah, retire when you're like 20 to 30, and then work from 30 to you die. There's a number of holes in his plan. There's a number of things that might not work out, especially given the housing disaster. I think we've learned that maybe Americans should not be given large amounts of money and then expected to pay it back later. So I don't think his plan would have worked. But in spirit, I understand what he was going for. You know, that would be cool. It would be cool. Oh, I take public transport. I am loving the public transportation here in Tokyo. It's awesome. Anyway, thank you for that question and many others. I should probably try and wrap this up now. It's after 2. Yeah, I was just going to record a little bye-bye to everyone. Sorry again for like being scarce the last few weeks. I feel like every video I fucking make recently, I'm apologizing for not being around. So it must be getting irritating that the only videos I seem to be making are apology videos for not making videos. But this will be the last one. I'll be back to my my normal ways as of tomorrow night. I'm going to put up a video on YouTube, hopefully Sunday. It's realistic, of my parents' trip. And then the next video after that will definitely be a house tour. And a ton of other stuff I want to put up. Good one, Dom. I'm still angry at you. Anyway, yeah, sorry for being scarce, but I'll be around more in the coming weeks. And next blogTV, I'll be on my normal scheduled time, so stop by Friday. Sorry, was it what? What the hell is that? It says Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, East Coast, U.S., which is Friday noon here in Tokyo. So stop by if you've got the time or inclination. Otherwise, look out for my YouTube videos. There'll be new ones coming up soon. No, Dominic, I totally understand. I'm sure you were really busy because, you know, you scheduled all of these things you wanted to do during your holiday time. And you did those. So you were very busy doing all the things you wanted to do, so you didn't have time to meet me. So I totally understand. You must have been very busy doing all those things that you were looking forward to enjoying doing. And hanging out with me was not one of them. So that's fine. That's fine. I totally understand. What was it like meeting Ken Tanaka? I have a feeling I'm going to read about Dom's suicide tomorrow. Being mean. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not angry. No, Ken Tanaka is completely normal. He's completely normal. He doesn't even go by the name Ken in real life. He's just a normal dude. A very nice guy at that. A very, very nice normal dude. He's an actor. And he's a very funny guy at that. But yeah, he's in real life, he doesn't do the act that he does on camera, obviously. In fact, it was just like we were hanging out, chatting and having drinks, and it was like, all right, we're gonna film this thing. All right, Ken Tanaka on. Hello, I am Ken Tanaka. Ken Tanaka loved you. Like, it's completely. Oh no, his Japanese is much better than mine. His Japanese is much better than mine. But he lived in Inaka, like the countryside, for years. That's my excuse. Also, I'm going back to Japanese classes. That's my other big thing. As soon as my parents leave, I'm going back to Japanese classes. I gotta do it. Gotta do it. Ah, that comes a lot. Means a lot coming from you. Since with the name Claw, I am assuming you are an evil overlord of some kind. No, I'm just gonna go back to like one hour a week at a school, just to put me back on track, because I'm not studying enough or at all in my free time. I'm using Japanese at work every day, but I just keep repeating the same stupid, shitty mistakes. So I totally have to get a teacher to help me stop making these same stupid mistakes and start expanding my vocabulary and stuff like that, because I'm lazy. You know. But anywho, yeah, I'm gonna get to bed. It's 2. I gotta be up in the morning. Again, thanks for hanging out, dudes and dudettes. Hope you all is well in Gaikoku, and I'll see you on the internet sometime soon. Later!